last time we looked at the most recent family tree here in the Green family tree, and then on back into the Swineharts and Hampshires. This time I'm going to take it on back from Lewis Adam Green, and we're going to trace it back through the Green family and their origins in Ireland, as well as some other interesting facts. So I'm starting back here with Lewis Adam Green, and he was the oldest son among 7 siblings who were all born to John Walter Green and Celeste Spade. John Walter Green was listed in the 1900 census as a plasterer by trade and lived most of his adult life in Wayne County, Ohio. He was born in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, and that was to Abraham Adam Green and Susanna Laura Liggetts. John and Celeste Green are buried in the Fredericksburg East Side Cemetery near their son Lewis Green. Now, looking back at Abraham Green here, he was born in 1825 in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, to John Green and Mary Caroline Fount. I was able to determine through the census that Abraham's father, John Green, was born in Ireland, and his mother, Mary Fount, was born in Pennsylvania. John Green here was also a plasterer by trade. Abraham and Susanna Green are buried in the Plain Lutheran Cemetery in Plain Township, Wayne County, Ohio. And that's the church many of you probably are familiar with if you're from the Worcester area. It's located down Blatchleyville Road on Route 95, about 3 miles west of Worcester. So here we're going to go from Susanna Liggetts. She was actually 1/8 Delaware Indian. Her maternal great-grandmother was a full-blooded Delaware, or in the Delaware words, they called themselves the Lenape, or the First People. And this is shown on the chart here. This is where the chart starts moving around a lot, so, it can get a little confusing. So anyway, here we go. We're going to go back through Nancy Quick, Anna Jennings, and here is her great-great-grandmother, daughter of the Lenape chief. So here, let's look at George Liggetts and Nancy Quick. We see that George was also of Irish descent, and Nancy Quick was a daughter of David Quick and Anna Jennings. And then Anna was a daughter of Solomon Jennings and his wife, who is actually unnamed in documents, but listed as a daughter of a Lenape chief. In the publication Genealogical History of the Berkey Family, we read that Solomon Jennings went to live with the Lenape Indians. He married the daughter of a chief and became legal interpreter of the Delawares. I'm still trying to research this so I can find out if her name is registered anywhere. I've been writing a lot of different Delaware historical societies and not getting too much results, though. So these occurrences of Solomon Jennings marrying into the Lenape tribe, he would have actually been considered a true Lenape because the male, it's more of a matrilineal society in the Delaware. So he would have become a member of that tribe. His home area was in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and we know that there was a Moravian mission to the Indians led by David Zeisberger in that area at that time. We do not know whether Solomon and his wife were Christians, Moravian Christians, but we do know that his family, the Jennings family, was very friendly with the Moravians and very helpful with them. Zeisberger also was involved in the missions that were in Gnadenhutton and Schönbrunn down by New Philadelphia, and that's all in the Muskingum River Valley in Ohio. And I found a lot about the culture that Solomon Jennings would have known in Bethlehem in the late 1700s through the writings of Zeisberger and also another one of his laymen, John Heckwelder. There's a book that I just devoured. Is John Heckwelder. I think it's called like 30,000 Miles with John Heckwelder. I would highly recommend that if you're interested. They traveled all around and Ohio up into Michigan and Pennsylvania, and much of it was done through the rivers and creeks in the area. Solomon Jennings' parents were John Jennings and Mary Waller. John was actually one of the first appointed sheriffs of Northampton County, Pennsylvania, which is the Bethlehem area. He was sheriff from 1762 to 1768, and he's said to have been very friendly and helpful with the Moravians as well and their efforts in that county. Also of note is that John was appointed sheriff by John Penn, who was the son of William Penn, who founded Pennsylvania. Then we go back one more generation, back to Solomon Jennings, who was born in 1700. And if you remember hearing about the walking purchase in Pennsylvania in 1737, you may have already heard the name Solomon Jennings. He was one of the 3 walkers who participated in the purchase. It was actually kind of a nebulous deal where the Delaware tribe agreed to allow the white men to purchase whatever land could be walked over in a day and a half. And this was done on the east side of Pennsylvania. And I'll try and remember to put a link down below where you can learn more about the walking purchase. But the Delaware were not happy with the results of that. The story goes that Solomon dropped out early and didn't continue in it. I think it was after the first day. But he'll forever be named in this deal, which left the Delaware tribe feeling cheated out of their prime hunting ground. Find out more about it. Look on the link below. Now let's go back down the chart to David Quick, his line. Okay, here we are. There's David Quick. Now we'd gone up into the Jennings, who were very friendly and even married into the Delaware tribe, and we're going to see a different story in this side of the branch of our tree here. We'll just go on back and I'll just tell you right up front, the Netherlands is where the Quicks come from. I think it used to be spelled Kuik or something to that effect, and it just translated to the English word quick. You may notice also that I've only placed the men in this line here. As honestly because I was running out of room on the chart. The wives of all these men are known, and I have them in my complete family tree. So I'll try and name them here as I go back. I'll try and remember that. David Quick's father was Corporal Benjamin Quick. And in the U.S. Revolutionary War rolls, we see from 1775 to 1783, he's listed as a private in Hopkins Regiment of Militia, 1779. And later on, he reached the rank of corporal in Captain James Bonnell's company, stationed in the frontiers of Sussex County, New Jersey. He was married to Katharina Kortrek about 1762. And interesting name, Kortrek, actually also has been translated to Cartwright. So maybe we're related to the fictional character Ben Cartwright, but I kind of doubt that. Anyway, Corporal Quick's father was Dirk Quick, who was born in 1714 and married Apollonia Van Garden. And these are very Netherlandy names, so I'm going to do my best to pronounce them. But anyway, they were married in 1736. And Dirk died in 1749 and actually was survived by his own father, Thomas Quick, who was born in 1690 and was married to Marguerite Decker. And in 1722, Thomas bought land by the Delaware River at the present-day Milford, Pennsylvania. And this is where he built a mill, a house, and a barn. And this, in fact, was named, the name of Milford, in fact, comes from the placement of the mill in the convenient fording place on the river. So, Mill Ford. Thomas is said to be one of the few white men in that area who was on the friendliest terms with the Delaware Indians. Here we have, in the genealogy of the Quick family in America, Thomas Quick built the mill, house, and barn on the Delaware, where the turbulent Little Motter Kill stream from the hills empties into the Delaware, and the falls on the Motter Kill powered the mill. He was one of the few white men of that section who was on the friendliest terms with the Delaware Indians. They brought him game and furs, and he gave them flour. But one night in February 1756, with young Tom, he was crossing the Delaware on the ice with a grist on his back. A band of drunken Indians, perhaps mistaking him, shot old Thomas down with poisoned arrows and later scalped him, the murderer stripping off the silver cufflinks and silver shoe buckles from Thomas. As he fell, Thomas commanded young Tom to run, which he did, for the howling Indians were coming on the run, but he did not run until he had shot one of them. To avenge this ruthless murder, and with no civil courts worth mentioning, Tom swore a declaration of war of one man against the entire Delaware tribe until he found the man who had shot and scalped his father. 40 years of this one-man warfare went until it was a household word in all the 3 adjoining states. Indians were shot by scores, and each one thoroughly searched for the silver links and buckles, but without success. Finally, Tom was in a tavern one night when an Indian came in. His name was Mushwink. He and Tom had been boys together, playmates, learning together to swim, trail, fish, shoot, and hunt, fast friends for years. The only Delaware Tom would have spared, but Mushwink was very drunk that night. Approaching Tom, he said, "You hate Delawares, I hate you. You kill Delawares, I kill your father." "Prove it," shouted Tom, grasping his rifle more firmly. Mushwink, staggering against the bar, reached down in his pocket and brought out the links and buckles. "See," he leered. "March," ordered Tom, swinging the Indian around towards the door and heading him far down the road where the rifle report was scarcely heard. So that was this Thomas Quick right here. They actually had a monument in his town up, it was kind of in the middle, a little island in the middle of a divided street. And a few years ago, they took the monument down because really it just wasn't something that they wanted to remember. But I like to include it here because good or bad, when you're doing genealogy, you want to find out the facts. And this Thomas Quick, I don't think he had any children or anything. So he was sounds like he was just a bitter man his whole life. But I just thought it was interesting to see how one side of the family here kind of was, well, they were friendly with the Delaware, but then this Thomas Quick here was just an enemy of the Delaware for his whole life. And then the other side of the family actually was married into the Delaware. And let's see, would have been a great nephew, David Quick, Thomas Quick's great nephew, married a woman who was half Delaware. So just found that quite interesting. Now we'll go back to Thomas Quick's parents, Dirk Quick and Hannah Johns, Jans. Dirk Quick's parents were Theunis Quick, which sounds to me like a woman's name, but it was a man's name back then. Doesn't sound like much of a name, actually, in my English ears. And he married Belichin Jacobus, who immigrated. They both immigrated to New Amsterdam sometime between 1625 and 1664. Well, that about does it for now. Thanks for watching. Thanks for remembering those who have gone before us. And if you're interested in getting any more information on this, including the chart or any pictures I've used in this presentation, feel free to message me here on YouTube or email me at scaggins@protonmail.com.